G'day everyone, welcome to the Flight of the Next podcast. We are here today. I'm here today with Dean and Alex Brooke-Cornway, and we are going to chat about the round 4 results of the A-League men and the A-League women. A-League men, we played Victory on Friday night. We managed to get a 1-1 draw despite not having a single shot, which I think is perhaps maybe it's some kind of record, I don't know. Thoughts on the game?
My thoughts, very brief because there's not a lot to talk about. But again, very much like the Wanderers game, if we'd been offered a point at the start, I think most of us would have taken it away to the Victory in good form, good players. So, yeah, it was kind of more the shits and giggles, shithousery of the no shots at goal and still getting a point was the main takeaway for me. As well as Chiefy's shirt. Chiefy's looking good this season. If we ever get the opportunity to interview him, I want to find out where he's getting this gear from.
Yeah, not a lot to talk about. So the goal, so Wooten kind of follows Velupile outside of the box, and I think he kind of expects someone to follow or to go back in the box to cover Wooten, and he looks back. Velupile kind of cuts the ball back into the box, and Wooten kind of looks a bit surprised that no one's covered him into the box. So I guess it's something we'll be working on in training, kind of more communication. Wooten expecting someone to follow the attackers into the box, marking our men. Pretty basic stuff.
I do believe that that cutback passed between the legs of one of our players, and that's kind of lucky, especially because it wasn't a direct nutmeg with the player who was trying to win the ball off of him. So there's a good chance that any other day that sort of just takes a bit of a nick, and it's a bit harder to get. But yeah, it was I think a disappointing goal to concede. However, we did have the game was a little bit exciting, right? Like there were 2 penalty shouts, one of which was given and then taken away, and one of which was not given. Did we want to discuss VAR, or did we want to discuss it really? I'm not actually sure. It's worth it.
It's a little Lawrence offside. If that had been given and Zavada had scored, that just would have been like a crime. I think just burglary of the highest order, just coming away with 3 points from that performance. But yeah, it is what it is. I have to say the Victory goal was really well constructed. If you watch that back on replay, it was a thing of beauty. Passing in the ball.
Yeah, same with our goal, to be honest. Like, I know it was an own goal, but Tim Payne, Costa Barbaros is on the overlap. Tim Payne puts in a nice through ball to him. Costa gets in the cross on the ground, and the defender is in between the ball and Zavada. If the defender doesn't get a touch on that, Zavada is tapping that in. Lots of people are saying that's a big old 1 on the XG. So the XG thing, you can't really pay attention to that because it was an own goal and it was a mistake from them. And if they hadn't made that mistake, then we got a goal ourselves.
I think that's a fair way of looking at it. And this is the thing is no shots, but it's not because we parked the bus for 90 minutes. Like we had a lot of really good attacks. Obviously, you don't shoot. In theory, you don't shoot, you don't score. So we want to see shots. But at the end of the day, it's not like we just sat in our own half the entire match. And that's why we got no shots. We actually did attack quite a lot. But still, I think we were quite lucky to come away with a point there. Any final comments on the men's game?
There was something like 8 minutes of added time at the end. So 8 bloody minutes. That was sort of like very, very nervous. But anyway, yeah, let's talk about a game we actually won.
Yes. How good. Another win. 3-1 against Western United, who were a very, very good team last season. So definitely happy to be testing ourselves against a team of that quality, especially because they've got their Chloe Logarzo and they have who's their attacker, their 9.
the American girl.
Yeah. I've totally her name has slipped my mind. So they've got some really good players as well. Alex, you were at the match. How did it feel?
It was kind of just great to be so close to the field. Like at Sky Stadium, you're so disconnected from everything, especially in yellow fever up the top. It feels like they're so far away. And I actually realized that I've never been to a kind of a stadium where you are that close to the players. You know, the only football games I've really been to are at Sky Stadium and Eden Park. And you could just see so much more. It was actually just so much more entertaining than Sky Stadium.
I'm quite jealous of that experience because it was great. And to have 1,700 fans packed into that little stadium making such a wonderful noise, you could tell the players were feeding off it, and you could just tell that they were loving it as well. You know, that they'd look up on the stand and see you all together, all going off. You saw them at the end of the game come over and join in with a Phoenix chant, and that was like probably the first opportunity that they'd had to do that. And it was really, really positive.
Yeah, after the game was great, you know. All the fans kind of flooded out of the stands and then kind of just assembled at the bottom of the stand for a signing session, like just kind of impromptu. I don't even know if the stadium announcer said there was going to be one, but there were so many people. It looked actually, the after game signing session, it looked so much more packed than at Sky Stadium. It was really nice.
Well, you have to walk down that way to get out of the ground, right? So I believe you're funneling people past there anyway, whereas at Sky, you've got to make a sort of decision or a concerted effort to walk down to that space. So by all reports, it was quite successful, except for the lack of food trucks. But Domi did mention that on Twitter today. So that seems like something that will be looked at. But any final comments on the ground or the experience or getting to the ground before we move on to the actual performance?
Sorry, you guys in?
Okay. All credit to the bloke with the motorbike who was sort of around about the 30-minute mark, decided to give it 10 minutes of high revving activity.
Boy, I said.
Interesting.
Yeah, the only other thing I would add is that there wasn't a scoreboard or a time board. So organising shirts off at 80 minutes was a bit hard. We had to kind of look at thought mob and people keeping stopwatches, but you know, there was kind of a digital signboard. It said "Welcome Phoenix to Porirua Park" or something. I reckon they could turn that into a scoreboard if they wanted.
So there's no replay board either?
No.
So you couldn't see the goals played over and over and over again. And the best bit for me was listening to the Fever chanting for Piney to give us a wave, and listening to Piney commentate at the same time and hearing that coming through the feed. It was great. But he said he didn't hear you, so...
No, I reckon he heard us.
So we had 3 goals. One by Chloe prodding it in from bit of a goalmouth scramble after a corner. Macey with an incredible free kick. And then poor Kewa Hida scored an own goal off of a really good Mickey Foster corner. I suppose the main talking point is the Macey Fraser goal.
It's a shame for you, Alex, that you could only see it once, but you were there to see it because the replays. I literally, it went in. You could feel it was going in, just the way that was. Everybody's lining up. You thought this is going to be spectacular, and it was. I had chills, you know, like I had goosebumps on my arms. It was that such a thing of beauty. It was just like, wow, how magnificent was that strike?
Yeah, I reckon you could tell it was going in. You know, the way she stepped up, and I think it was Mariana Speckmaier sold the fake really well. But I did actually get to rewatch it. There were a few of us who recorded it with our phones in yellow fever, and we were just kind of rewatching it in awe for a while.
She, I do wonder a little bit because I mean she's been an absolute revelation this season. It's sort of easy, or what I assumed anyway. It was easy to assume at the beginning of the season that she was one of these really young ones. She's actually 21, and she's been in the academy for a few years, but has been overlooked for some reason. I don't know why that is. There might be good reasons why she's been overlooked for the last couple of seasons, but I just think, man, it would have been really good to have that talent also coming through into the Ferns as well.
There's a lot of noise at the moment about Yitka taking a look. Makes sense.
Yeah, I think we really need to have kind of a look at that talent identification. We saw the same thing with Emma Main last season. She came in, what was it, second last game, third last game, and she had a brilliant through pass, set up a goal, which we didn't have many of last season and the season before. And Mania Elliott, she's looked really great so far. It just makes you wonder how many more of those sorts of players do we have hiding in the rocks.
It bodes very well for New Zealand football.
I think so one of us is in the Flight of the Next podcast team expressed being a little bit sad about the fact that these new players have pushed out some of our fan favourites for now, such as Mickey Robertson and Alyssa Winham. I understand being sad that your favourite players are not getting minutes at the moment, but, you know, you want to have a strong team, and we also need the depth. How do you feel about how do we support players who are still on the team but not getting game time?
It's a difficult thing to support, because you don't know what they're going through. That somebody might be glad of the rest. Somebody might be very anxious that that they're not getting game time, and what do you say to them? I mean, Alex, you were at the ground. I mean, you could see Alyssa and Mickey there. What would you have said to them?
I didn't actually get a chance to talk to them. They were kind of sitting near the commentator, but you could see them walking through the crowd, and just adding on to the bit about the ground, it's just so much more, chill. At Sky Stadium, they'd be kind of separated from everyone, but it was just so nice to have them integrated with the rest of us. But just encouragement, working hard and training.
Yeah.
But it just makes you wonder, why were they signed? Because I'm of the view that if you sign a professional football player, you should play them. It's what they want. It's what you want. There's no use paying them to sit on the bench, or not even sit on the bench, paying them to play for the reserves. But I was wondering if, Paul Temple signed them because he didn't know if we were going to get those visa players. So he signed them kind of thinking, oh yeah, they'll be first choice. And then later David Dome or whoever, Rob Morrison, were like, oh yeah, you can sign some visa players. And then that kind of pushes the Mickey Robertson, Alyssa Whitnams, Kelly Browns off to the side.
Yeah, hard to know. I think I've talked about this in the last thing. It's a long season, so we're going to need that depth. And to have somebody of, Alyssa or Mickey's kind of skill level to step in when somebody does, again, hurt themselves, it's good to have the quality along with the depth. And, Alyssa, for example, she was signed for a 2-year deal before Paul Temple came on the scene. So this is the second year of the contract. Possibly the same for Mickey as well, but they were there before them. The only sort of difficult thing is we've got a very successful team, and you don't change a winning team, I don't think. Even though you want to give these players a go, you still want to keep momentum and keep those results coming in. So it is frustrating and sad for us all to see our favourites not getting a game, but their time will come, I'm sure, this season.
It's just the reality of football. Every year players will not be re-signed, or they will move that you liked. Every year players that you like will find themselves perhaps on the bench or not in the match day squad as often. But that's just football. We can't be sentimental of, oh, the fans miss so-and-so, so let's give her minutes. And we can only have a limited bench, you can only put 5 people on the bench. So, yeah, I just thought it was an interesting talking point. And hopefully, those players do feel like they are supported by the rest of the squad if they're out.
And by us as well.
And by us, exactly. So giving them a wave in the stands or something like that, or sending them a message. I hear that, so we did talk about Grace having ruptured her ACL. That's somebody to really reach out to and see that she's doing all right. Sorry, Dean.
No, I was just going to say, it's given, because if you're sort of healing from an injury, and you read about it quite often, these players are sort of like at home in the flat, or stuck somewhere just recovering on their own. So it gets very boring and lonely on their own. So it's good if we as a fan group can remember, and it's not just next week or the week after. It's 2 or 3 months. If we can just reach out and ping them, say, look, we're still thinking of you. We're still hoping for you.
All right. Any further comments on the women's game? I was going to say it was, again, a pity to give up a goal in stoppage time. It was less of a threat this time than it was against Brisbane, because we still had the 2-goal buffer. Chloe Logarzo looked really unhappy the whole game, and I don't think she was even that happy when she scored a goal. In fact, she looked so unhappy when that own goal went in, and the camera was on her that I assumed that it had been her own goal. So she obviously did not have a game that she enjoyed, but she did a really nice chip at the end of the game, just made that space and chipped it, and that's a lot of experience.
Yep. Good bit of class there that Chloe Logarzo's got. And if I copped an elbow that'd given me a black eye from my own defender, I mean, I would have wanted to come off about 80 minutes and just go on sulks. So points to her persisting, sticking it out and getting a goal that she can put on her show reel. My other thoughts about the game were that the first 30 minutes, we were very, very average. Our passing was not on point. We were giving the ball away. There's a lot of turnovers. We had a couple of good chances, but so did they. We had another sloppy giveaway in our half when we were sort of like just about 3 feet in front of the goal area. Luckily for us, it went out off the crossbar, but it was like we flicked a switch on the 30th minute. Our attack just became magical again. The passing was amazing, and we just sort of moved on. And then from that 30-minute mark onwards, we dominated, put together 2 wonderful goals. Towards the end of the first half, it was that first 2 or 3 minutes, that was very nervy as well. We sort of almost parked the bus, but it was only a minibus, and so they were having sort of plenty of chances. There was a lot of balls into the area, and we sort of again rode our luck, and then that sort of built the basis of feeling a bit more relaxed in the second half. We weren't 2-1 down, 2-1 at that time. So what else have I got on my notes? Or did you have any sort of notes you wanted to talk about, Alex?
You talked about the finishing, and I reckon the finishing kind of really let both teams down. Mariana Speckmaier, she got in behind really well a few times, but she couldn't find the back of the net. It kind of just reminds me of early Oscar Zavada last season. He had heaps of chances and couldn't find the back of the net. But then he grew into the season really well and, scored, 12 in a row, probably wasn't that, but around there. So I reckon we're going to see Mariana Speckmaier turn into an even bigger kind of figure for the Wellington Phoenix later this season.
I got exactly the same notes. I got sort of Mariana Speckmaier just a little bit off, kind of like, just the dial on the radio station is just a little bit off, so you can still hear it, but it's not all that good to listen to. As you say, she'll come good, and it's going to be kind of interesting for the Fever to come up with a chant, I think, for Speckmaier. I mean, Zavada's one thing. Speckmaier, good luck with that.
Yeah, she does this thing where she throws herself to her knees and then like smacks the ground with her hands and forearms. And I have a feeling that will, as with any striker, they're always going to miss a lot. So we'll see a lot of that over the season. Perhaps less of it though, as she's still finding her feet. But I mean, we're criticising her for missing when she's got 3 goals. Is it 3 goals already this season?
Was it 2 or 3?
Either way, yeah, it's a huge difference to what we had last season, where we're struggling.
Yeah, last season we didn't know where our next goal was coming from, let alone our next win. Now we're on such an amazing roll, 3 wins in a row. Look out.
8 goals. I wonder what our total goal tally was last season. It's not great. I'm actually curious. I'm going to find out when we will surpass that.
Yeah, I was just wondering if we could get more wins this season than goals last season.
The feeling is good.
We're going to win the league. We're going to win the league.
I'm just talking a little bit now about the Fraser factor. No, I just got pinged about half an hour ago by someone who doesn't support the Phoenix. They're going to come on to the Mariners game to watch Phoenix. Yeah. This person's a big fan of Mackenzie Barry, and now Macey Fraser as well. So if you can if you got a player like that who's attracting sort of neutrals to an away game, then we got someone special in the squad.
So we scored 20 last year, and this year we've scored 8. So we're still a little while away, but it'll happen. It'll happen real soon.
Okay, well,
talk about the Mariners game. Sorry, ABC.
Sorry, I was just saying maybe we can't get as many wins as we got goals last season. We can aim for more than we got in the first season then.
Yeah. So, Holt, you'll be at the game on Saturday against the Mariners?
So long as your car still works.
What?
Ride to Dean's house. Get in the car. I only feel car sick when we go... I don't feel car sick when we go down the windy bit, but for some reason I always feel car sick. It's probably because I've eaten so many of those horrible, horrible Central Coast Stadium chips.
No chips.
And then we go tearing up this windy high road, just getting out of Gosford, and I always feel slightly crook. That's why I sit in the front seat.
Well, as soon as you 2 of us, I wouldn't put you in the back. I mean, I don't want to feel like a chauffeur. But would we be predicting anything less than a win against the Mariners?
They're not a bad team, but I would like to think that we beat them. Might not be much, maybe by 2 goals. I think there's goals in both of these teams, so maybe another 3-2 like we had pre-season.
Yeah, win would be great. I don't know much about the Mariners women's team, so can't really comment.
They've only just got together this year, so there's not a lot of past history to look at with the current players. But yeah, I've got a feeling that we're going to win, as you say, Hol.
Will be good. The men aren't playing because it's the international break. So I believe the All Whites are playing Greece, and I believe there was another match in there, but yeah, might have to. Let me just double check. Greece. Oh dear, matches. Ireland's the other one. So Greece on the 18th, Ireland on the 22nd. I have no idea what to predict out of those results. Hopefully we do all right. The under-17s men's World Cup is also on, and we lost to Venezuela 2-0 last night.
3-0?
3. Oh, it might have been 3. There's a really horrible mistake at the back for the first goal. It was a really bad mistake.
There was, I watched as much as I could handle. But yeah, towards the end of the second half, no, I can't handle this. I've had a great weekend of football. I'm not going to spoil it. It was not a lot to get excited about.
And I think the rest of their group is Germany and Mexico, which are also tough opponents.
Yeah, I don't think there's much to get excited about kind of on a team level, but on a player level, there are some seriously talented players in that group. You know, you think of Mali Leuluai. I hope I pronounced that right. Played for Man City Academy for ages. Now he's at Burnley. Also Adam Watson, he's at Stoke, and some players at the Phoenix. Think of Luke Supek, who's signed up his first professional deal. Gabriel Sloan Rodriguez, who looked really great off the bench. There's heaps of really talented players in that team. We just need them to kind of come together as a team.
Yeah, it looked very much like it. Just introduce yourself, boys. You're on the same team. Kick it to the people in white. Or was it black last night? I can't remember. But yeah, it wasn't a good watch. It was quite painful.
All right. So we still love our exes. Jale played well and got a goal.
Yep.
Did she get a goal and a win? Izzy missed a penalty for Mariners. That was probably the most interesting. Oh, Kushla played well. Kushla played well for Western Sydney Wanderers. But otherwise, Jets. Yeah, it was. Chico just plays well all the time. I don't recall her having anything really special, but yeah, Chico's Jets. Oh, they lost to Victory by quite a bit, but yeah, Mariners got the draw with Raw. Oh, you know what? That Western Sydney Wanderers game, Melbourne City went up quite early, and you think, that's the game done, but it actually ended 4-3.
Yeah,
which was wild.
It was an
It was scoring goals.
To be neutral, it was good.
Yeah. Clegg is out for 5 weeks, I think, with a hamstring tear. So her career didn't last long thus far in the Wanderers, but hopefully she's back soon. Any other comments for the pod?
No, look, I think I've done. I think it says it all. Apologies for the noise in the background if you could hear that.
Yes, Dean has naughty screaming children over. Or maybe they are Dean's children who are adults and screeching in the
They've
hallway.
reverted back to their natural complaining state.
Yeah, kids. All right, well, thanks everybody. Thanks for joining us. Thanks to Dean. Thanks to Alex. Don't forget to share us, tell your friends about us. We're hoping to have some interviews really soon. But in the meantime, take care and we'll catch you at the field. Bye.